Have you ever seen a ship floating high in the mountains like a bird? Picture a surreal landscape where giant cargo vessels move not along a riverbed, but seem to glide above the treetops and pass right through rocky cliffs. This is not a sci-fi scene and not computer graphics. This is real engineering today, making water run almost through the sky. Today we're going to look at the most unbelievable shipping structures on Earth. Subscribe, this is going to be interesting. In the very heart of China, there is Guizhou province. It is a place of stunning beauty, where karst mountains rise into the clouds like dragon teeth. But what looks like a dream to a traveller becomes a real challenge for logistics. Because of the mountains, any overland shipping here turns extremely expensive and risky, and the local rivers stay wild and unpredictable. The main water artery here is the Wu River. For centuries, locals tried to tame its temperament, but a truly noticeable human victory over the elements happened only in recent years. To give the region electricity, they built a cascade of powerful hydroelectric plants here. But a serious problem appeared right away. The dams completely cut off the route for ships. One of those barriers was the Gupatan hydropower station. Its concrete wall, more than 200 meters high, basically turned the river into a dead end. Before, ships had to unload before the dam, then send the cargo by trucks along winding mountain roads, and only then load it back onto a vessel on the other side. That wrecked the region's economics and made shipping pointless. The engineers faced a task that was almost beyond imagination. How do you move a heavy vessel weighing 500 tons over a wall as tall as a skyscraper? Regular locks would not work here. To lift a ship 200 meters with locks, you would need a chain of dozens of chambers, and the passage would take the entire day. They needed a far more radical solution. That is how the project of the one-of-a-kind Gupatan shiplift was born, launched in 2021. This is not just an elevator, it is an entire sky route for vessels, made of 3 separate lifts connected by navigable bridges and tunnels right inside the mountains. Let us break down how this mechanical giant works. The journey starts at the lower level of the river. The ship enters a special water-filled chamber. It is a massive pool, about the size of half a football field, set on rails. The gates close, and then something begins that looks like real magic. The first lift is the most powerful of the 3. It raises the chamber along with the ship by 79 meters. Imagine standing on deck while you are lifted up to the height of a 25-story building. But the most interesting part begins the moment the lift reaches the top mark. Here the ship does not simply exit into a reservoir, it enters a sky canal. Engineers built unique aqueducts, water bridges suspended high above the ground. The ship moves through a concrete trough, and far below the keel, treetops drift by and birds fly close by. But the surprises do not end there. To connect the first and second lifts, builders had to bore a tunnel straight through the rock. The ship slowly enters the dark belly of the mountain, then comes out on the other side, already at a new level. It feels like an amusement ride, except instead of little cars, real barges move through here. The second stage of the system lifts the vessel another 127 meters. Extremely complex cable mechanisms and counterweights work here. The positioning accuracy of something this massive is just 5 millimeters. Any mistake could cause a disaster, so hundreds of sensors and computers monitor the process. The third and final lift completes this ascent. The total elevation change the ship passes is 199 meters. That is an absolute world record for systems of this type. The entire trip takes about an hour and a half, and that is incredibly fast compared to any alternatives. Many people compare Gupatan to another giant, the famous shiplift at the Three Gorges Dam. Yes, Three Gorges is the largest single lift in the world. It raises ships weighing up to 3,000 tons in one lift. That is impressive power and pure engineering muscle. But Gupatan wins not by raw capacity, but by the complexity and elegance of the solution. Three Gorges is essentially vertical movement up and down. Gupatan is a true 3-dimensional labyrinth, where ships move not only vertically, but also horizontally, shifting from one water basin to another. There is also another famous structure, the Falkirk Wheel in Scotland. It looks very futuristic. and carries boats like a giant carousel. But the lift height there is only 24 metres. Gupatan beats the Scottish wheel in height by almost 8 times. The scale here is simply not comparable. Why does China spend billions of yuan on projects like this? The answer is simple and comes down to basic math. Water transport remains the cheapest way to move cargo on the planet. One barge can carry as much coal or construction material as 50 large trucks. In mountainous regions like Guizhou province, roads twist and turn, and they constantly need repairs because of landslides and heavy rains. Trucks burn a lot of fuel and pollute the air. A ship moves smoothly, and it needs minimal energy per ton of cargo. The environmental factor matters here too. The Gupatan shiplift system literally brought the Wu River back to life. Now cargo can move freely from deep inland straight to the sea. That became a powerful boost for the development of the entire province. Factories got cheaper raw materials, and farmers gained a reliable way to ship their products to markets. But let us get back to the engineering. Just imagine the pressure the walls of the shipping chamber endure. The water inside weighs thousands of tons. If that chamber develops a crack, the consequences will be catastrophic. That is why engineers use special grades of steel and concrete. Safety comes first here. If an emergency power outage happens, gigantic mechanical brakes engage, locking the chamber with the ship firmly in place at any height. This system of toothed rails and gears was designed specifically for Gupatan and basically has no equivalents. They built all of this in extremely harsh conditions. Workers had to literally bite into sheer cliffs. Delivering materials to those heights became its own engineering challenge. Often they disassembled machines into parts, hoisted them up with winches, and then reassembled everything up there. Navigation deserves special attention. The captain does not need to steer through the narrow troughs of the aqueducts. Movement inside the system is fully automated. Special towing units gently guide the vessel from one lift to the next, removing the human factor and reducing the risk of scraping the walls. This project shows perfectly how the human relationship with nature is changing. Before, we either broke it with brute force or backed off. Now we are learning to fit technology into the landscape. Ships moving above the treetops have become a symbol of how steel progress can coexist with the wild environment. What is also interesting is that during construction they found ancient caves, and they had to reinforce them so they would not collapse under the weight of water and concrete. Geologists did enormous work, scanning literally every metre of the mountain to make sure the foundation for this sky river would be reliable. When you watch drone footage over Gupatan, it is easy to feel dizzy. It seems like the laws of gravity have glitched here. Bright blue water in concrete channels against grey cliffs and green vegetation creates the feeling of a completely alien landscape. The economic return of mega projects like this is calculated decades ahead. Yes, today the costs are enormous, but in 20 or 30 years, when millions of tons of cargo move along this route, fuel savings and the preserved lifespan of roads will pay back every cent invested. And China is not planning to stop. The experience of building Gupatan is already being used in designing new hydropower hubs in Tibet and other hard-to-reach regions. Engineers dream of creating a single water network that will connect every corner of the country, despite mountains and deserts. For local residents, this structure became not only a transportation hub, but also a source of pride. Tourists come here just to see the flying ships. The sight is mesmerizing and makes you believe in just how limitless the human mind can be. In a world where we are used to virtual wonders and digital effects, monumental physical objects like this create a special kind of awe. This is real heavy engineering, something you can touch and feel in its power. It is a monument to human grit and persistence. The Gupatan shiplift proves that for engineers there is no such word as impossible. There are only tasks that need unconventional solutions. Lifting a river to the sky, cutting through a mountain, and making ships seem to fly, all of that became everyday reality in Guizhou province. We live in an amazing time, when maps are changed not by wars but by construction cranes, and projects like Gupatan inspire you to think bigger and not fear obstacles, no matter how high they seem. Because if you can lift a ship to the clouds, what else can we pull off? Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you are the first to learn about humanity's most grand-scale structures. Write in the comments, would you personally want to ride a ship across a sky bridge like this? Or does the height still scare you? Your opinion is very important to us. See you in the next videos.